A woman had visited San Fernando Cemetery in Texas alongside her daughter on the anniversary of her husband's passing. It was already a heavy, grief-filled occasion, and while the atmosphere was somber, the little girl had been quietly amusing herself nearby until she suddenly froze in fear and bolted back to her mother, clearly shaken by something she'd seen.
What is it? Come here. Why don't you want to go sit down over there?
Because I'm scared.
You're scared of what?
What's this? There's shadow.
What girl shadow?
What's that?
The moment the child came running, her mother pulled her in close, and that's when the girl pointed toward a nearby tree, insisting she could see a girl's shadow lurking behind it. When the footage is zoomed in, something resembling a human face appears to briefly emerge from behind the trunk. The mother later stated that the area around that tree was entirely deserted at the time. Visitors tend to gather closer to where she was standing, well away from that secluded spot. The thought of a silent figure apparently peering out from behind a tree in such a desolate corner of a cemetery was enough to convince her to pack up and leave without hesitation. Some who watched the footage wrote it off as a deliberate setup, but many others weren't thinking about the supernatural at all. For them, it came down to something far more grounded, a mother's very real concern for her daughter's safety in an unsettling situation. A mysterious intruder broke into a home that once belonged to a married couple who vanished without a trace. Their disappearance has never been explained, though dark rumors have swirled ever since. A relative of the couple later released disturbing footage pulled from the home's security system. What that footage captured will make your skin crawl. As unsettling as the recordings were, they weren't enough to keep one person from deciding to sneak inside. The intruder climbed through a second-floor window, completely unaware of what he was walking into. The moment he set foot in the house, something felt deeply wrong. What his camera picked up from that point forward is genuinely horrifying. Once the strange knocking faded, the intruder turned his gaze down the hallway, and there it was, a dark silhouette, standing still, staring directly at him. Then it slipped away into the shadows. Convinced he'd just spooked himself, he crept forward to investigate, but there was nothing there. It wasn't until the video went online that people started noticing something that couldn't be explained. The figure didn't walk. It seemed to drift, almost as if gravity had no hold on it whatsoever. Nobody who watched the footage could make sense of what they were seeing. So what exactly was that shape in the hallway, and could it still be waiting inside that house? The mystery remains. A TikTok user by the name of Jose Miguel Stark uploaded a clip back in May 2022 showing himself exploring an old hospital somewhere in San Jose, starting his walkthrough at roughly 6:30 in the morning. As he makes his way through the building, the camera sweeps across corridors and rooms that appear weathered and neglected, though not completely deserted. What stands out most, though, is the silence, the kind that feels just a little too heavy. At a certain point, before anything you can actually see occurs, strange and faint voices begin drifting through the space, layering on the tension, and then the footage delivers this. Out of nowhere, a door slams shut by itself, with nobody standing anywhere near it and no obvious explanation for why it moved. Simultaneously, a pale white shape flickers across the door's window, something that, for just a moment, looks unsettlingly like a figure. It's not hard to understand why viewers would jump straight to a paranormal conclusion, an invisible presence making sounds and physically affecting the space around it. That said, the white shape is more than likely just a reflection caught in the glass, whether from the surrounding environment or the camera's own lens. The door itself could simply have been sitting slightly ajar and pulled closed by a shift in air pressure or a draft moving through the corridor. Still, hearing unexplained voices and then watching a door swing shut on its own inside a silent, empty hospital is the kind of thing that gets under your skin. Because sometimes it's everything leading up to the moment that makes it hit so much harder than it otherwise would. On a sun-drenched day, along a blustery coastal peninsula, a traveler raised his phone to record a centuries-old stone fortress, originally constructed in 1725. 300 years haven't weakened those walls one bit, but their durability wasn't what unsettled him. He and his brother had been joking around about the site's history when an inexplicable sense of dread washed over them. Visitors pour into this place every year, yet most have no idea the fort once claimed the lives of pirate raiders back in the 1700s. With that grim legend fresh in his mind, he felt an icy breath graze the back of his neck. His shaky phone footage manages to capture something unmistakably solid, something shifting in a place where nothing should be shifting at all. Here's the moment it all went down, and the ghostly screams that came with it.
Okay. Mira los cañones. Espérate, nomás déjame ir a bolsa. Eso está nuevo.
Caught on camera. Whatever showed up was standing in a section of the fort that's been closed off to visitors for years. The thick layer of dust on that floor makes it clear no living person has walked through there in decades. So if it wasn't human, what exactly was moving through that corridor? Even accounting for the low resolution, distant shapes in the footage remain crisp. Yet this figure, just a few meters from the lens, dissolves like a wisp of smoke. Plenty of viewers are convinced it's the tormented spirit of a pirate cut down by soldiers, doomed to wander those halls for eternity. while others can barely wrap their heads around what they're seeing. The footage was uploaded in 2023, and to this day, not a single skeptic or investigator has managed to explain it away. A haunted fortress, a pirate's restless apparition, genuine paranormal evidence? Woman decided to photograph the demolition of an aging school building. When she went back through her pictures afterward, one particular shot stopped her cold. There, slightly left of center in the hallway, was a dark, silhouetted shape, half swallowed by the shadows. The unsettling part, the area had already been cleared, and no workers were anywhere close to that spot. So what exactly was lurking in that corridor? Perhaps a former teacher or principal whose attachment to the place never quite faded away. A woman who typically posts ordinary glimpses of her everyday life on social media did something completely out of character in 2021. She uploaded footage unlike anything she'd ever shared before. The clip had been captured by a security camera set up inside her daughter's room. One night, the mother picked up on a strange sound coming from that direction, and she immediately pulled up the camera's live feed to check on things. What she witnessed stopped her cold. A toy had slid out from beneath the bed on its own. She didn't waste a second, rushing straight into the room and dropping to the floor to see what could have moved it. There was nothing there. Shaken to her core, she scooped up her daughter and got them both out of that room as fast as she could. So what do you think was actually behind it? A group of paranormal researchers from Brazil set out to explore one of the most infamous derelict buildings in the country. The facility carries a deeply troubling past, with widespread accounts of satanic experiments allegedly carried out on its patients. Countless people who have ventured inside report hearing wails and sobbing reverberating through the hollow hallways. The team records their journey as they push further into the crumbling structure. Then, as they make their way down a staircase, something brings them to an abrupt halt.
Tem uma coisa ali, ó. Tem uma coisa ali, Alan. Vai ali, Alan. Vai pegar o gatinho, um gato. Ai, meu Deus. Tinha um gatinho, Alan. Tinha um gato. Me dá balacha, me dá balacha. Não tô ouvindo. Vê se consegue destravar. Olha ali, vai pegar o gato. Eu tô ouvindo, Alan. Segura, segura, segura. Eu tô segurando, tô segurando.
From the pitch black of a nearby doorway, a ghostly face with luminous white eyes slowly materializes. The figure holds its gaze on the investigators for several long seconds before vanishing back into the darkness. Even with no light source anywhere nearby, those eyes seem to generate their own eerie glow, and the team stands completely frozen, visibly rattled by what they're witnessing. Moments later, when they finally work up the nerve to approach that doorway and look inside, there is absolutely nothing there. No trace of whatever appeared, and no clue as to where it disappeared. The building has sat empty for decades, entirely without power or lighting of any kind, yet something with self-illuminating eyes had been peering at them from the dark. The team went on to investigate many other locations throughout Brazil, but this particular encounter has never stopped haunting them. So what exactly was hiding in that doorway, and how many other unsuspecting visitors had it been silently watching all along? A group of students had gathered in an empty classroom, killing time before their next lesson. With nothing better to do, they started swapping ghost stories, laughing and trying to get a rise out of each other. It all seemed like innocent fun in the stillness of that quiet room, but within just a few minutes, the mood shifted entirely. See for yourself what the camera captured.
Y ella era amiga de... No, a la vez. No mames.
The lights briefly flicker, and when they return, things appear normal at first. Then a desk and chair begin gliding across the floor on their own. Nobody was anywhere near them. No hands, no contact, no rational explanation. The furniture crept along slowly, as though something invisible was dragging it out from the darkness. The students stood paralyzed with terror before scrambling over each other to get out of there. Some people believe a spirit was announcing its presence. Others are convinced the whole thing was set up. But the one question nobody can shake is, what exactly moved that furniture? Mansfield Reformatory in Ohio is a place with a heavy past. Construction on this enormous facility first broke ground back in 1886, and over the decades, what was originally intended as a place of rehabilitation gradually transformed into something far more sinister, an institution plagued by overcrowding, brutality, and conditions no human being should endure. Thanks to that grim legacy and countless reports of paranormal encounters spanning many years, it's now widely regarded as one of the most haunted correctional facilities in the entire country. People who visit the place claim to pick up the sound of footsteps with no source, hear voices that belong to no one visible, and sometimes catch glimpses of shadowy figures moving through the darkness. One content creator on TikTok, a guy who goes by the name Poofs, number 27 on the platform, decided he was bold enough to walk through those halls himself. And while making his way through the building, he encountered something that clearly left a mark on him he won't soon shake.
That's some creepy ass shit. Hold on, no, I want to see this. And none of them.
Right in front of him, one of the cell doors began swinging back and forth with real force. The man shut his eyes and edged himself closer to get a better look. But the motion of that door, the rhythm of it, the way it moved, looked exactly like someone invisible was pushing it deliberately. There was no one else in that building, and not a single other door was moving. I'll give this guy credit. He kept it together way better than most people would. Because honestly, if that had been me, I would have absolutely lost it in.
He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Mary, he's doing it again. Derek! Hey, Derek! I know you're f***ing with me, dude. Derek! Derek! I'm talking to you, man. Stop f***ing with me, dude. Calm down, Jessica. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's just Derek. It's just Derek. Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek. What you doing, buddy? I miss you. Derek. What are you doing, buddy? You know I love you. You know I love you. Hey, Derek. Come on, you dump.
Shadow is clearly visible, almost as though someone is up in the attic moving around. The moment she posted those first few clips, viewers started flooding the comments with questions. Some people suggested that an actual person could be sneaking in through a window, and pushed her to show the full attic space on camera.
Wanted me to come up to the attic. Okay, this is the wall that y'all saw some shit on. And these are the stairs. Like, my husband has all his clothes, of course. But if you look up there, there's no windows. I'm not going all the way up there because it scares the shit out of me. There's no windows. There's a sofa, some mirrors, a chair, his clothes, but there's no windows up here, okay? There's nothing up here that would have done it.
As it turns out, there are no windows in that attic whatsoever, which makes the idea of someone breaking in or hiding up there pretty hard to believe. In her more recent videos, Jess has said she's beginning to doubt whether whatever is lurking up there is actually her late friend, Derek.
Okay, I'm starting to hear sounds coming from the attic. And I'm here by myself, other than my dog. Hi, dog. Oh, he's so cute, isn't he? He's just a precious little baby. Yes, yes. Precious little baby. But we're hearing shit. We just heard footsteps up there. And you all right, buddy? You all right? You okay? What's wrong? What's wrong? What is it? What is it? Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Ouch. Okay. 200 pounds of monster. If anything, that ghost should be scared of you, not you scared of it.
So what's your take on all of this? Is something genuinely haunting her home? Or is there a rational explanation behind the shadows and mysterious sounds coming from the ceiling? Until Jess comes forward with more updates, this one stays firmly unsolved. Drop your theories in the comments and let us know what you think. In the video that follows, a man decides to explore the abandoned Cherokee Heritage Center Museum, located in Park Hill, Oklahoma. The site itself has deep historical roots. It was originally built as the Cherokee National Female Seminary back in 1851, before a fire destroyed it in 1880. The Heritage Center was then founded in 1963, with the surviving columns from the old seminary structure still standing on the grounds as a nod to its past. The location has been shuttered since 2020, and during his walkthrough, this explorer manages to record something that's genuinely hard to explain. See for yourself.
Am I tripping or is there something going on in here?
After moving to Indian Territory, Cherokee Nation set aside 1 acre of ground for ancient church congregation. Moravians, Baptists.
Dude, that's so creepy. Why is this?
Ooh, that scared me. Dude, that scared me. I was like, there's someone in there.
At Mountainside Church, where I pastor, we conduct our services in both languages, Turkey and English.
From inside one of the locked buildings, an audio recording can be heard looping continuously, despite the fact that no one appears to be present. After wandering around and eventually making his way back to one of the windows, a pale white shape becomes visible near the wooden stove, almost like a figure dressed in a white gown, just hanging in the air. So did Native Penguin actually catch a real apparition on film? Drop your thoughts below. We don't know the identities of the two guys in this footage, but we are told that something lurks within the shot alongside them. The clip opens pretty normally, two friends or brothers snapping a photo together, either wrapping up a night out or getting ready for one. The details are vague, so that part is anyone's guess. But as the pair look around, a small humanoid figure cautiously peeks out from one of the nearby buildings, seemingly careful not to give itself away. The people in the video don't seem to catch it in the moment, though the fact that someone eventually posted it online suggests they spotted something when they reviewed the footage later. Plenty of viewers who came across the clip were convinced it was set up. Others pushed back on that, arguing the skeptics were simply missing the point. They believed what's visible in the video is almost certainly a duende. It's a subject we've touched on quite a few times before. Now that you've seen it with your own eyes, what's your verdict? Is this the real thing? A young mum in this clip grabs her phone and hits record after her small son suddenly says something deeply unsettling from his car seat. He points toward a tree just outside the window and tells her there's a girl up in it. When she presses him for more details, he calmly explains that the girl is no longer living.
Are you sure? I don't see anybody, honey.
I see a girl.
You see a girl?
Yeah.
What's she doing?
Clearly shaken, the mother swings the camera around to face the tree, and what it captures is nothing.
That girl in the tree, baby, there's nothing.
No figures, no animals, not a single thing out of the ordinary, yet the little boy won't back down, insisting he can clearly see a girl, completely still, suspended from one of the branches.
Mommy, it's Dad.
To make things even more disturbing, the text caption accompanying the video later revealed that the child went on to describe the scene further, saying it looked as though someone had hanged the girl from the branch by her neck. Surveillance footage from a Brazilian hospital picked up something deeply unsettling on one of its cameras. For the first several seconds, everything appears completely routine, until around the 15-second mark, when a staff member is seen heading out of the building. What nobody noticed at the time was the figure lurking just behind him, creeping out from one of the nearby rooms. It moved with a slow, deliberate pace, as though it was taking great care to avoid drawing any attention to itself. It seemed to be tracking a particular individual, and the video that captured all of this, it's left a lot of people genuinely unsettled, though a fair number of viewers remained skeptical about whether it's actually real. Leandro was on the edge of falling asleep when an odd scraping sound started coming from the back room of his apartment. He didn't think much of it at first, figuring something had toppled over, but the sound kept going, getting sharper and more purposeful, like something moving around with a clear intention. Feeling uneasy, he picked up his phone and crept slowly down the hall.
Será que é gato que tá aqui, mexendo nas coisas? Mas não tem ninguém aqui. Caramba, acho que tem alguém aí. Que susto, velho. Para, que isso? Quem tá aí? Tranquei. Meu Deus, cara. Mãe.
O que tá acontecendo?
Não sei. Parece que tem alguém aqui.
Nossa, tem que parar desses vídeos aqui, eu tô com medo já.
Mice. When he pushed the door open, his stomach sank. The room was in complete chaos. Furniture had been knocked over, things were strewn all across the floor, and the whole space looked like something had gone absolutely haywire in there. It reminded him of a scene left behind by a wild animal, and he lived alone. His heart hammering, Leandro backed away and pulled the door shut. That's when the handle started rattling violently, shaking back and forth, as though something on the other side was desperate to get out. In a panic, he threw the door open once more. The room was immaculate. Everything was exactly where it should be. The back door was still locked tight. Whatever had been in there hadn't gone anywhere. Or maybe it was never the kind of thing that needed a door to disappear. Housekeeper named Len was jolted awake in the dead of night by something calling out to her, except every member of her household was fast asleep upstairs. And whatever produced that sound was clearly not of this world. It had a quality to it that was deeply unsettling. Turn up your volume for this one. At exactly 5:13 in the morning, while everything outside is completely still, a strange and rapid voice utters Len's name. Her first instinct was that perhaps the homeowner needed something, even though nobody ever wakes her at that hour. She climbs out of bed and makes her way to the kitchen, completely empty. But here's where things get truly disturbing. As she passes in front of the camera, her silhouette appears distorted, almost as though her physical form isn't entirely her own, like something else is wearing her shape. Then, on her way back toward her bedroom, a dark, shadowy figure materializes against the wall, directly behind her. In the post description, Len mentioned she was hit with a severe headache almost immediately afterward, and up on the second floor, where the family lay sleeping, that same eerie voice or sound was captured at the very same moment. Not a soul in the kitchen, not a soul in the room. Len later came forward to confirm that unusual activity throughout the house had suddenly intensified. She's convinced that some kind of unknown presence, possibly a shapeshifter, has made itself at home there. A massive number of viewers share that belief. The camera distortion, the name being called before dawn, the warped appearance, the figure emerging on the wall, it all points to something sinister toying with her. So what do you think was really behind that voice? Leave your theory below. On August 27th, 2024, a store manager reviews footage of an incident that occurred earlier that day, and he sounds visibly shaken while doing so. He rushed straight to his computer to pull up the recording and back it up, worried that nobody would take his word for it otherwise. Something had taken place while he was going through boxes, and he was certain the cameras had caught it. There are actually several strange moments throughout the footage, but it's what unfolds near the very end that genuinely frightens him. From that point on, he's been looking over his shoulder, dreading the possibility of it happening again. What follows is footage recorded by that store manager.
Single night. He's putting things away from the box. All right, now watch. I want you guys to focus on this area right here. Okay? Hold on, let me speed this up a bit.
They haven't got the first clue on how to use it.
All right, watch.
If you have the doctrine right and you stow it on a shelf in your closet and do not pull that doctrine out.
Boom, you see that?
What good does that
Let me get back here for you guys to give you a better view. Look at that. And I'm just like tripping, like, what? Pay attention to this area right here.
I've never met. I can grant that they've
Watch.
bunch of shows that could teach justification correctly. But so what? It's not what I asked you.
Is that you? Look, I'm here by myself. Nobody's here. It's just me. See that? Come out. I'm not afraid of you. Is that you? That threw down the box earlier? Come on out. You don't scare me. Come on out, pussy. Always trying to mess with me. Ooh! Oh, shit. No. Hell no. Hell no. Let me see. Where am I? I'm here. Where am I going? Look, there I am, right there. Look, you see that? You see that? Nah. Nah.
See for yourself. Did you catch that? You see it? As though the manager hadn't already been rattled enough, this occurs next. Captured by the camera aimed at the store's side entrance, you can see the manager's hair rising on its own. Or more accurately, being pulled by something that isn't visible. It's that sudden, sharp tug that sends him bolting in a panicked frenzy, initially convinced that someone was behind him playing a prank. But when he reviewed the security footage of the moment, he realized nobody was there. So if the space behind him was completely empty, what exactly grabbed him with such force? Some viewers are convinced this was the very spirit he had been calling out, while others are left without any clear explanation. The manager himself, though, has no doubt in his mind about what it was, and believes it's the same presence that has been disturbing his store all along. Naturally, I'll leave it up to you to draw your own conclusions. Was this a ghost caught in the act? Or is there another explanation entirely for what happened here? Drop your thoughts below. A young mother named Stephanie shared an adorable clip of her toddler goofing around, climbing across the sofa and enjoying himself. She uploaded the footage online so her loved ones could enjoy watching her little boy at play. What she didn't expect was for viewers to pick up on something in the background that left them seriously unsettled. Did you catch that? People watching the video noticed a peculiar tiny figure lurking near the bottom of the baby's playpen, right down by the ground. Stephanie says she had no clue this mysterious shape was even there until commenters started pointing it out after she posted it. She confirms there were no other kids anywhere nearby, and she has absolutely no explanation for who or what that peeking figure could be. What's even more interesting is that her son initially starts moving toward that room, but then quickly turns around and leaves. Yet shortly after, he casually strolls right back in, as if nothing bothered him at all. So what exactly is lurking there? That's for you to decide. Danvers State Hospital in Massachusetts was once an enormous facility. It housed thousands of patients, operated under brutal conditions, and carried a reputation that persisted long after its doors closed in 1992. By the time a security guard was stationed to watch over the abandoned building in 2000, stories about what might still be lurking inside had already taken on a life of their own. One night, he ventured into the basement with his camera rolling, and while he noticed nothing out of the ordinary during his walkthrough, what the footage actually captured is a different story entirely. A tall, thin figure, moving at a slow and deliberate pace, almost as if it were carefully keeping itself just beyond the edge of visibility. The guard was convinced he was the only person in that building. Years later, nobody has managed to offer a satisfying explanation for what was recorded. Shadow, trick of light, or something far harder to rationalize. It seems Danvers State Hospital may never have been as empty as it appeared. A TikTok creator going by the name Haitani posted a deeply unsettling clip to his account that quickly caught people's attention. What he chose to do in it was the last thing most viewers expected. He began by scattering salt throughout his home as a form of protection. From there, he decided to run an experiment, playing Quranic recitations from his phone in an attempt to drive away whatever supernatural forces he believed had been disturbing his household. But not long after the recitations started playing, things took a turn. A strange, unidentifiable sound began filling the space, and without Haitani even noticing, something appeared in the frame that he never intended to capture. Pay close attention to every corner of this footage.
Ils ont hanté et on va essayer d'enlever les esprits qu'il y a dedans, donc j'ai pris de la sauge, du sel. J'ai entendu du bruit. On va faire brûler la sauge, les gars, on va faire brûler la sauge. C'est bon. Les gars. Mon cœur il bat à 3000. Écoutez mon cœur. Les gars, vous entendez mon cœur?
As you can see, the moment the Quranic recitation begins playing through his phone, he immediately picks up on a bizarre sound coming from the room directly behind him. Then, while he attempts to burn something he's holding, an aggressive knock rings out, visibly startling him. The sound is unsettling and hard to explain, yet despite his clear unease, he can't bring himself to step into that room and investigate. The knocking doesn't stop. It persists all the way through to the end of the clip. What's your take on what's going on here? Drop your thoughts down in the comments.
Les gars, vous entendez mon cœur?
The following clips come from what appears to be an ongoing series of recordings made inside the same home. A lived-in apartment with children's drawings on the walls, toys scattered on the floor, and a security camera running through the night. According to the person behind the camera, the activity has been escalating across multiple incidents, and he's been documenting each one. In the first clip, he's decided to investigate a disturbance in the dark, despite his wife warning him not to. He gets out of bed, moves through the house with his phone as a light source, checks a wardrobe, finds nothing out of the ordinary, but the security camera feed running in the corner of the frame tells a different story. Watch.
Shh. Let me just check. It's coming from the cupboard. Could you please stop?
According to the family, the knocking had become so common that they eventually started speaking to whatever was causing it. At one point, the husband reportedly asked it politely to stop. Instead of quieting down, the knocking grew louder and more aggressive, leading some viewers to speculate that whatever was behind the sounds seemed to react to being acknowledged. Another night, the disturbances returned. Once again, he woke up to a strange noise and left bed to investigate, expecting another false alarm. Instead, he got the scare of his life. Watch.
Shit. This started again. Yalla, go to sleep now. Don't get up. It's almost the same time.
What's harder to shake is the pattern. 2 separate nights, and now they've become so used to it, they even have a name for whatever's been in this house. They call it Jerry. And now the 5-year-old son has started asking about Jerry by name. Listen closely.
Oh my god. Ajay? क्या है ये? It's just near the door.
Daddy, what is it?
Nothing, but I just go to sleep now, okay?
Is that Jerry?
Shh. I don't know. Just be quiet now.
Okay.
Please, I beg you. मत जा. Don't go. Listen to me.
Just be quiet.
The scratching is unmistakable, a series of quick taps and scrapes, repeating with that uneven rhythm that's genuinely difficult to attribute to pipes or settling walls. And then the moment the father gets up to check, it stops completely. That detail alone is what gets under people's skin, because an accidental sound doesn't respond to presence. A named entity that a child has come to know casually, that scratches at a door and goes quiet the second someone moves toward it. That's a different kind of unsettling entirely. The fourth clip is silent again, and it documents something more subtle. A lamp with a black and white geometric pattern, filmed on the static security camera in the early hours of the morning, turning on and off by itself in an empty room. Watch.
I just have no words. Let me just show you the video itself. Okay.
When he went back into the room, viewers noticed what appears to be a shadowy figure moving behind him, following his path through the room before disappearing from sight. And then comes what may be the most compelling footage of all. The most extensive footage in this set captures what may be the most direct evidence yet. He's woken up in the night again, this time by the sound of the kitchen tap running. He gets up, finds the tap on, turns it off, and almost immediately hears water running again. The lights in the hallway won't turn on. He notices a child's red scooter near the door that he doesn't remember being there before he slept. And briefly, along a white wall, a faint wispy anomaly rises upward and disappears. Watch.
It's 5 minutes early today.
The security camera footage recorded earlier that same night fills in what the first-person view couldn't capture. A dark, translucent shadow figure moves across the living room, pushing the scooter, then walks away as the scooter continues rolling on its own. The figure reappears later, crossing from the hallway into the kitchen, and moments after it enters that space, the sound of the tap turning on begins. That sequence, the figure entering the kitchen, followed immediately by the water, is what a lot of viewers find most difficult to rationalize away. Some believe shadow figures of this kind represent a conscious presence, something with intent rather than residual energy, a distinction that matters because intent implies awareness of the people living there. Others point to the misplaced scooter, the unresponsive light switches, the child who already knows the ghost's name, and suggest that whatever is in this apartment has been making itself comfortable for a while. The family seems to know it. The 5-year-old isn't even scared yet, and that might be the most unnerving detail across all of these clips. Not the blurs, not the lamp, not the shadow pushing a toy across the floor, but the fact that a child has simply accepted it as part of home. Whether this is one presence or several, whether Jerry is a name given to something ancient or something entirely modern, the footage keeps coming, and whatever is in that apartment doesn't appear to be going anywhere. The following clips were both recorded inside what appears to be a large warehouse store, the kind of place that feels completely different after hours, when the shelves are still stocked, but every aisle is empty, and the only sound is the hum of the lights overhead. The man filming had been alone, locked inside a small monitoring room, watching security cameras, when he started hearing something he couldn't explain. He describes it in Spanish, something scratching the walls, coming from somewhere nearby. He insists he doesn't want these things to happen, which tells you this isn't the first time something's felt off in this building. Watch closely.
Raza, estaba yo aquí monitoreando las cámaras en un cuarto encerrado y se escuchó como si alguien estuviera rascando la pared. Ya, no, de verdad, ya no quiero que pasen estas cosas. ¿Qué fue eso?
Two sounds hit him in quick succession, a loud, forceful scraping or thudding against the wall, enough to jolt the camera, and then a sharp knock directly on the metal door. He opens it and steps out into the service corridor, then into the main store, clearly shaken, checking the restroom, checking the hallway, and finding nothing, no one. That alone is unsettling. Some viewers think the sounds are consistent with what's sometimes described as poltergeist activity, not a ghost in the traditional sense, but an energy force said to interact physically with its environment, making contact through noise and impact, rather than appearing visually. Skeptics argue it could be pipes, settling metal, or an animal in the walls, but the knock on the door is harder to dismiss, because it's rhythmic, deliberate, and comes from exactly the right height. He still doesn't have an answer when the second incident happens. This time he's out in the store aisles, pushing his own cart, voice hushed, breathing audible, saying it feels like someone is watching him. Watch.
No sé qué está pasando. Realmente se escuchan ruidos a lo lejos. Está pasando algo muy extraño, no sé qué está pasando. Se siente como si alguien me estuviera observando. No lo sé. No mames.
an empty green shopping cart, sitting completely still in the middle of an aisle stocked with bottled beverages, suddenly rolls forward and to the right on its own, quick, a few feet, then stops. He reacts immediately with a loud, genuine exclamation of shock, and the sound of his own cart wheels rolling fast on the concrete tells you he didn't stick around. What makes this harder to explain is that both events happened in the same building, within what seems like the same shift. Scratching and knocking in the locked room, then a cart moving by itself in an empty aisle. Two separate incidents, two separate forms of physical interaction, and no one else in the building. So what exactly is in that store? This next clip comes from a night investigation inside the ruins of St. Mary's Church in Colston Bassett, Nottinghamshire, a site that traces its origins back to the 12th century and has drawn paranormal investigators for decades, some of whom claim to have encountered demonic activity within its crumbling stone walls. The team is moving through the interior using a handheld camera on night vision, panning slowly across the ancient stonework, when something outside catches the frame. Watch.
Just the same as what it says at the front.
In the right-hand section of a large window opening divided by a central stone pillar, a dark vertical shape appears, moving quickly from right to left, passing behind the pillar and then simply vanishing before it clears the other side. The team insists all members were accounted for at the time. Some viewers think it's residual energy, the kind of repeating imprint that old religious sites are said to hold. Others believe it's something more aware, something that knew the camera was pointed at that window. Either way, it doesn't wait around to be identified. What exactly passed through that window frame? The following clip is about a man named Daniel Thompson, who occasionally returns to stay for a few days at the family home where he and his sister grew up. Recently, due to some accommodation issues, he's been staying there more often, and during those visits, he says he's begun noticing things in the house that he can't easily explain. According to Daniel, the strange feeling isn't entirely new. In fact, he believes something may have been present in that house since they were children. One reason he gives is his mother's unusual hobby. She has always been an avid collector, filling the house over the years with all kinds of strange antiques, dolls, puppets, and odd artifacts she picked up from flea markets, thrift stores, and estate sales. And one item in particular has always unsettled him, the dollhouse sitting in his sister's room. Daniel says that almost every time he walks past that room, he hears a faint knocking sound coming from inside. And for some reason, he's convinced the sound is coming from the dollhouse itself. Watch this. After hearing the knocking so many times, Daniel began wondering if one of the strange items his mother brought into the house years ago might have something attached to it, and considering how many eerie collectibles fill the rooms, it's not hard to see why the thought crossed his mind. In the next clip, you'll see some of the unusual items his mother has collected over the years. Take a look.
Okay, so the other thing that really creeps me out, that I do not like, but I will show you guys, is in my sister's old room, or I guess still room. Dollhouse. I don't know how to explain it. The only thing I can say that has happened with it is sometimes when I walk by, or like I go, the bathroom's back there, and I walk through and I hear like tapping coming from this room. It's like it's like yeah, it's like I know it's coming from this room, and so I come in here and then it usually stops, except for like maybe 3 nights ago, like the tapping kept happening, and I came over and I was trying to figure out like where it was coming from, but it was coming from this dollhouse and I don't know where, and it hasn't done it since. Like, why is it so intricate? It's like, freaks me out. I'm not showing you guys this again, so take one last look. Yeah. Fuck that thing.
His mother has several old dolls, puppets, and handmade figures, some of which already look unsettling even before anything strange happens. But viewers watching the footage noticed something that Daniel didn't mention right away. Toward the end of the video, just before he says, "Freaks me out," many people claim they can hear what sounds like the faint voice of a young girl somewhere in the background. And then there were the comments about one particular doll, the red one in the beginning of the clip. Several viewers said the doll had what they described as bad juju written all over it, with others pointing out the puppet beside it also looked unusually sinister. But according to Daniel, those aren't even the creepiest dolls in the house. There was one they absolutely couldn't stand while growing up. Watch this. If you look closely at the doll wearing the blue shirt and purple pants, something odd happens. For a brief moment, its eyes appear to blink. It's subtle, but once you notice it, it's difficult to unsee. Still, the most convincing moment for Daniel came after he decided to move the dollhouse out of the room. Almost immediately, the knocking sound stopped. For a while, the house became completely quiet again. But then something else happened. The knocking started again, in the room where he had moved the dollhouse, and that alone was enough to make him uneasy. Eventually, Daniel decided to spend a night at a friend's house, just to get away from the place for a while. But while he was there, his phone rang. It was his mother asking if he was back home trying to scare her. Confused, he told her he was still at his friend's place, so she sent him a video recorded by the living room security camera. Watch this. In the footage, the living room appears completely empty, but after a few seconds, faint footsteps can be heard moving through the house. At first, she thought Daniel might be playing some kind of prank, but after confirming he wasn't home at all, the situation suddenly felt a lot more serious. For the first time, she started wondering if something else might actually be moving through the house, and if the sounds really were coming from whatever was inside that dollhouse, then moving it may not have solved the problem. It might have just moved the problem somewhere else. Until more updates come from Daniel and his family, all anyone can do for now is hope whatever is happening there doesn't get worse. In this next video, a team of paranormal investigators return to the Wheelhouse in London, a historic building dating all the way back to 1885. Today, the building operates as a pottery business, but according to local stories and previous investigations, the place may hold more than just clay and pottery wheels. During an earlier investigation, the team believed they had captured evidence suggesting a female spirit might be connected to the building, possibly dating back to the time of World War II. Wanting to learn more about who, or what, might still be present there, they decided to return for another night of investigation. Watch this.
The lady that wanders here that leaves the smell of a fragrance, a perfume. What was that, Phil? I heard knocking. Did you hear knocking?
I don't know.
As soon as I mentioned the lady.
While Phil, one of the investigators, is speaking about World War II and the history surrounding the area, something unusual happens. In the background, a faint whisper can be heard, quiet, but distinct enough that several viewers immediately noticed it. Listen closely.
Until after the war, when they decided that they were going to go back to what they knew best, and that was shop fitting. Now, one of the directors was a chap called George.
Hold on, Phil.
Until after the war, when they decided that they were going to go back to what they knew best, and that was shop fitting. Now, one of the directors was a chap called George.
Hold on, Phil.
In this part of the recording, a voice can be heard saying something that sounds like, "The Yankees are here." The phrase immediately caught the team's attention, because during World War II, American soldiers, often referred to as Yankees, were stationed throughout parts of the United Kingdom. Some viewers believe the voice could be connected to someone who lived through that time, perhaps replaying a moment from the past when American troops arrived in the area. Trying to get more answers, the investigators continue attempting to communicate with whatever might be present in the building, and that's when this happens.
Well, last time we were here, this particular area we're sat in now, we heard quite a few noises. We heard the china being moved or knocked against. Could you do that again, perhaps on... What's that?
It's the REM pod going into alarm. The temperature's gone into alarm.
Oh, I heard a chink of something as well.
Yeah, I did. Somewhere behind you on the pottery again, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Could you do that again for me, please?
Suddenly, the REM pod, a device used by investigators to detect electromagnetic disturbances, goes into alarm. According to the team, the device reacted at the same moment they felt a sudden drop in temperature in the room. Then, almost immediately afterward, a sharp sound echoes through the building, like a piece of pottery being struck or knocked over somewhere nearby. The investigators pause, waiting to see if anything else will happen, and before long, they hear something else. Watch this.
Do you want me to talk to you about the war, as you asked? If you do, could you knock maybe the pottery again, or bang on the table?
Someone's walking.
I heard something then.
Just heard footsteps.
You can hear clear footsteps, as though someone is walking through the building. What makes the moment unsettling is that the investigators confirm they are completely alone inside the space. No other staff, no customers, no one else who could be walking around the pottery workshop. Yet the footsteps sound deliberate, like someone slowly moving across the floor nearby. Old buildings often carry strange sounds, shifting wood, echoing pipes, distant vibrations traveling through the structure. But moments like this still leave people wondering if something else might still be moving through places, long after the people who once lived there are gone. So was it echoes from the past, or a spirit tied to the building's wartime history? You decide. Now in this next video, a woman named Genevieve hears something that catches her attention late in the evening. From another room, she can hear her young daughter talking, not just babbling or playing, but clearly speaking as if she's having a conversation with someone. Curious and a little confused, Genevieve calls out to her daughter, asking who she's talking to. A moment later, the little girl begins walking out of the dark room toward her mother. But as she steps out, something else appears in the footage. Watch closely.
Lorelei, come here. Lorelei, who are you playing with? What are you doing?
At first glance, many people's first reaction is probably the same, a shadow. But when viewers started looking closer, several details made the situation far more unsettling. For one thing, the room behind the child is almost completely dark. There's no obvious light source inside the room that could project a shadow that clearly across the space. Yet the dark figure seems to move independently from the girl herself. And if you slow the footage down, the shape doesn't match her body. The child is only wearing a diaper and a small t-shirt, but the figure behind her appears to have something hanging behind its legs, almost like a robe or long piece of fabric trailing downward. Even stranger is the way it moves. Instead of stretching or bending like a normal shadow would, when projected onto a wall or floor, the shape walks upright, moving through the middle of the room as if it has depth, almost like a three-dimensional figure rather than a flat shadow. Some viewers also pointed out something else that's hard to ignore. The dark figure appears to move before the child moves. Normally, a shadow reacts to the movement of the person creating it. It follows their motion, delayed only by fractions of a second. But in this case, the dark form seems to step forward slightly ahead of the girl. Another strange detail is where it appears in the frame. Shadows usually need a surface to be projected onto, a wall, a floor, or another object. But this figure seems to pass across open space in the middle of the room before fading away, almost like something briefly walking beside the child. If Genevieve's daughter really was talking to someone in that dark room, maybe the camera briefly captured who or what she was talking to. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. The following video revolves around something that, at first glance, sounds impossible. A phone that keeps ringing even though it has no power connected to it. The phone has been sitting inside the house for years, an old landline model that the family kept mostly as a decoration after it stopped working. But recently, it started doing something strange. Watch this.
This haunted phone rings without power.
Out of nowhere, the phone begins ringing. Naturally, the first reaction was to pick it up and see who might be calling. But every time someone answered it, there was nothing on the other end of the line. No voice, no static, no sound at all, just silence. And the strange part is that the phone isn't even connected to an active power source. When the clip was first shared, many viewers were quick to offer a simple explanation. Some said it might be a recurring electrical spark somewhere in the wiring of the house, or perhaps leftover electricity briefly triggering the ringer. Wanting to rule that out, the owners actually opened the phone to inspect it, but inside, there was nothing that could realistically hold power long enough to make the phone ring repeatedly. No battery, no capacitor, large enough to store energy for more than a few seconds. And this wasn't a modern device either. The phone had reportedly been in the house since the 1970s. That detail made the situation even more unsettling for some viewers. Older landline phones are mechanical in nature, meaning the ringing sound usually requires a proper electrical signal traveling through the phone line. Without that signal, the bell simply shouldn't ring, which led some people to speculate about another possibility. Ringing phones are sometimes linked to what investigators call phantom calls, strange events where disconnected phones ring or pick up signals that can't easily be traced. Of course, there are still many possible explanations, from unusual wiring in the walls to interference coming from nearby lines. But when a phone that shouldn't have power suddenly starts ringing in the middle of a quiet house, it's hard not to wonder who, or what, might be trying to call. And the strangest part? Even after all the attempts to answer it, no one has ever been on the other end of the line. Now in this next video, a man named Nate, someone already recognized for the strange activity that has been happening inside his home, records something unsettling while visiting a cemetery for work. At first it was faint, like something shifting or moving and somewhere between the rows of graves. Since he knew he was the only person there at the time, the noises immediately put him on edge. Watch this.
I heard you over there. I heard you moving around. Let me know you're here. Close that door. Yes, this is your cemetery, I know. I'm just trying to keep it nice for you. Keep it maintained and looking nice, out of respect. I'm not trying to So I'm hearing shuffling now. It sounded like it was behind the cement mixer. Fast footsteps or something that was back there. Clearly you can see there's nothing back there. So, not sure what that was. Gotta reach behind there. Alright then. That, a rainy day up here. Gotta love it. I swear, anytime the weather is like this, weird shit happens. So let's hope today is not one of those days. There's that thing. Holy f***. Yeah, that's just right? Hell no!
The area around him seems quiet, but the sounds continue, almost like someone slowly moving nearby while staying just out of sight. Nate tries to brush it off and continues filming, but the uneasy feeling never really leaves. Later in the video, after it gets darker, something even more disturbing appears. If you look closely beside the window, there's a faint figure standing there. It's difficult to make out clearly, but the shape is just visible enough to resemble someone watching from the side. And there's another detail many viewers didn't notice the first time. Earlier in the video, before the scene near the window, a shadowy figure can be seen standing outside in the background. The shape is dark and still, blending into the surroundings, which is probably why it's so easy to miss at first. After seeing the footage, many viewers started connecting it to the strange experiences Nate has already shared from his home. The unexplained scratches he sometimes wakes up with, objects being thrown across rooms, and sharp items suddenly moving without explanation. Because of that, some people began wondering if whatever has been causing those disturbances might not be limited to his house. Maybe it followed him, or worse, maybe it started somewhere else entirely. Cemeteries have long been associated with stories of restless spirits and lingering energy, places where the line between the living and the dead is often believed to be thinner than usual. So the question many people asked after watching the video was simple. Did Nate unknowingly bring something back with him from the cemetery that night? Or had it already been with him long before he ever stepped foot there? Again, I'll leave you to be the judge. The following clip was recorded by a girl on her 15th birthday. The house was full of relatives, music playing in the background, wrapping paper scattered across the floor as she laughed and unwrapped gift after gift. At one point, she picked up her phone to film a short video for her school friends, wanting to show them one of the dolls she had just received. But before she could even finish the video, something happened. Watch.
Bueno, aquí les presentamos a la muñeca de Bessie que se la regalaron a sus 15 años.
No manches, mira.
As she holds the doll up, its head slowly turns toward her. It rotates deliberately, stopping at an angle that makes it appear as though it's looking directly at her, but there's no visible mechanism inside it. No motor, no battery compartment, no switch. After seeing the video, her parents immediately took the doll away, but the panic wasn't just about the movement, it was about where it came from. The doll may have been purchased by a guest from a thrift store, meaning its history was completely unknown, and that's where the fear deepens. In paranormal lore, objects, especially dolls, are often described as vessels, not because they're inherently evil, but because their human-like features make them symbolic anchors. If something were attached to that doll, removing it from sight wouldn't necessarily remove the attachment itself. Some believe that once an object has been inside a home, whatever is connected to it can linger even after it's discarded. There are countless stories online of people throwing dolls away, only to find them returned to their porch, back in storage boxes, or replaced by unexplained activity inside the house. Others claim that after attempting to burn or destroy items like this, the disturbances escalated, lights flickering, doors opening at night, shadows appearing more frequently. If you were in that situation, if you saw that head turn on its own, what would you have done? Would you throw it away and hope that ends it? Or would you try to cleanse the house? I'd love to hear your thoughts. This next video was captured on a man's Ring camera late at night, and ever since reviewing the footage, he says he hasn't been able to look at his front yard the same way again. Watch.
Caught this on my Ring camera last night.
The movement started from here, and what immediately stands out is the way it moves. It doesn't scatter or disperse like dust caught in infrared light. It holds its shape. The outline remains strangely consistent, almost compact, as it floats forward. Many viewers initially suggested it could be dust, pollen, or an insect passing close to the lens. But typical dust particles caught in night vision tend to expand, blur, or fragment as they move. This form doesn't behave that way. It travels in a controlled path, maintaining structure before slowly fading from view. But that's not the only unsettling detail. In the audio, a faint voice can be heard, like a little girl saying, "We're here." The footage was recorded around 3 a.m., and at this time, no kid should be outside playing. Investigators sometimes warn that entities may mimic children's voices to seem harmless, drawing attention or curiosity rather than fear. But the phrase itself is unsettling. We're here, not I'm here, plural. If it was a trick of the audio system, it's an incredibly eerie coincidence. If it was a child's voice from somewhere off camera, why does it sound so close to the microphone? And if it wasn't either of those things, then what exactly was floating across his yard that night? And if that voice truly said what it sounds like it said, then the question isn't just what was there, but how many. Now in this next clip, a man known online for his extensive doll collection captures something unsettling inside his daughter's bedroom, and it happens while she's asleep. He says it was a normal afternoon, his little girl was taking her nap, the house was quiet, and he was in the living room when he suddenly began hearing loud tapping sounds coming from her room. Listen closely.
What is that? See, it ain't my daughter because she's napping right there on the bed. It sounds like her closet door fell. Try not to wake her up. I don't know. No, it's not doing it. See, she's snapping, right?
There was no one else in her room and there was no visible movement near her crib or bed. And then, after a short while, something else happens.
Whatever it was not even waking her up. Nah. Come on, man, she's in here sleeping. I don't know how that didn't even wake her up. Come on, man. You need to get out of her room. Dude, I'm telling you, that thing was closed, right? Come on, man. Now why is she sleeping? Man, I am good on that. You need to get out of her room. Play somewhere else. What the man? You need to stay out of her room.
People familiar with this family already know that the man collects dolls, dozens of them, many antique, some with glass eyes, some displayed throughout the house. Over time, viewers have also claimed to spot strange shadows in the background of previous videos, objects slightly repositioned between cuts, and unexplained noises when no one else was home. Yet despite all of this, he continues to insist that whatever is in the house feels friendly. But that belief is what unsettles many viewers the most, because entities that begin subtly, tapping, knocking, light movement, don't always stay subtle. Some investigators warn that labeling something friendly too quickly can lower natural caution, especially when children are involved. So what exactly is sharing that house with them? I'd love to hear what you think about this one. The following video is about a man who claims the activity in his home became so disturbing that he eventually had to leave and stay at his girlfriend's house just to get a break from it. It started with small disruptions, unexplained bangs in the middle of the night, doors clicking shut when no one was near them, and lights that would suddenly shut off and remain off for several long, deliberate minutes before turning back on by themselves. He describes those moments as the worst part, standing in complete darkness at 4 a.m., waiting, feeling as if something was intentionally holding the room in silence before restoring the light. Then one morning, around 4 a.m., he woke up to the sound of laughter clear enough that his first instinct was to assume it was his TV, but when he checked, the television wasn't even on. Some viewers tried to analyze his situation, but to prove that it wasn't just the house, he decided to leave for a few days and stay at his girlfriend's place. He believed that if the disturbances stopped, then the house was the source. Watch.
So yeah, I've been staying at my girlfriend's house, but guess what, guys? You're not gonna fucking believe it. The ghosts have followed me here. And she's bugging the fuck out. Her mother is bugging the fuck out. And I'm bugging the fuck out. I mean, I guess I should have expected this, but let's just see what's been going on. Her door has been opening in the middle of the night. This closet door has been opening up in the middle of the night, and it's like hard as to open. We put shit in front of it so it wouldn't open. Hearing all types of knocks, hearing people run up and down the stairs. I mean, this house is 100 years old. And then, to top it all off, my girlfriend goes in the shower today, and on the mirror, it says, "We are here." And, the writing is fucked up.
Look at that R. It's like look at that R. Why is it? Oh my god, I'm not doing this shit. I gotta move out. What the? I gotta move out.
Yeah, so that was on the mirror. I mean, it looks like anybody could have written that, but in person, the way it was written is mad weird. It's like squiggly lines. Her mom tried cleaning it with Windex and it wouldn't come off. And then after all that shit happens, her mom goes downstairs, and she's a very religious woman, and she has like this little, I guess, Bible, would you say it is, or what is it? I guess
It's a regular Bible.
Like a Bible.
I'm also sick. I don't have voice.
Yeah. So she goes downstairs and looks at it, and she left it closed. She goes down and looks at it, and it's open on the same exact page that her husband and her father died. The same exact day, May 22nd, it says it in the book.
What it says on the page is very like you were meant to hear kind of thing. Like it was just like so weird timing and just like a weird page.
So we're thinking maybe her dad is trying to protect them from whatever I brought in their house. What do you guys think?
According to him, his girlfriend and her mother had never experienced anything unusual in that house before he arrived. To him, this isn't a haunted house situation. It's something attached to him, something that follows him wherever he goes. But there's another layer. He mentions that his girlfriend's house is over 100 years old. Some speculate that perhaps his presence didn't bring anything. Maybe it just triggered something already dormant there. In paranormal belief, certain individuals are thought to act as catalysts, unintentionally amplifying or awakening existing energy in a location. Still, what unsettled people most was when he started having dreams.
What's up? So, I've been MIA. I came back from Cancun, and yeah, I'm tan now. But some wild shit happened to me the other night, and my eyes are going a little bit, but I'm here at my girlfriend's house, and it was around, I swear to God, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was 3:30, like on the dot. It was like 3:20, 3:29, 3:20.
And I started, she said I was freaking out in my sleep.
I woke up to uncontrollably shaking right next to me, like literally freaking out, like not screaming, but like loud enough to wake me. And he was freaking out, shaking like a seizure almost.
Yeah, and I had no recollection of it at all. Nothing.
Said his name about 10 times, wouldn't wake up. I smacked him so hard across the face, and that's when he shot up.
And I woke up and I told her I had this insane dream that I was in my house and like, I don't know what happened. I thought I was sleeping in my room and I started getting carried away by, looked like, I don't know, these dark shadow figures. They had like these big nails and teeth and crazy eyes, and I literally got picked up by them and they were carrying me away. And then I told her that, and then I was like, yo, I have this crazy pain on my arm. And I shit you not, yo, this is legit. Like, this is real. Like, Grayson here is like freaked out about it, and so am I. Wait till you see this shit, bro. Wait till you see this shit. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. As soon as she woke me up, I felt something like pain on my arm. And look at that. As hard as she scratches, no matter how hard she scratches, it will not go into my arm like that. Like,
no, this is crazy.
Didn't I tell you though, when I woke up my arm was hurting?
Yeah, it's 3.
And it's literally 3 scratches. 2 long ones and a short one.
Vivid dreams involving attack, paralysis, or shadow entities are sometimes interpreted as spiritual oppression, especially when they are accompanied by physical sensations. To make matters worse, he began waking up with unexplained marks on his body, and this made many people believe whatever is in that house is after him. But I'll leave you to be the judge of this one. Now, in this next video, a man is simply filming an update for his followers. He explains that he's recently been uploading more political clips instead of his usual original content because he lost hours at his job and is currently searching for a new one. According to him, political topics are easier to gain traction with, and right now, views matter. While he was filming, this happened. Watch closely.
Alright guys, I'm gonna try and make this one quick. This is just kind of update video. People have been wondering why I've been uploading so many news clips, so many political videos, and why I haven't been uploading any original content lately. As you should know, the American election just happened, and I was getting kind of one video. If you follow my channel, you would know it has 28,000 views. And I tried essentially recreating that, and getting a lot of views, through those political videos. Unsuccessfully, might I add. Basically, what I'm getting at is, in order to fill in the lack of original videos, I've been doing these political clip videos. And the reasoning behind that is because here at home, things are a little difficult. I didn't lose my job, but I lost a lot of hours. And I'm looking for new employment. Which is inhibiting me from creating new content. Makes it a lot easier for me if I can just, find a video clip of some politician or some news anchor saying something really stupid and get some views from that, than it is. It's easier for me to get views from that than it is, new content at the moment. So, just what I'm saying is bear with me. Yeah. It was weird. Got that on tape. Yeah, that. I know you guys aren't gonna believe that really just happened, but as you can see, there's no one in the room with me here. I've kind of chose this room because it was the only room in my house without someone in here. Yeah, that was guys. This isn't. It's a string, right? But that's just kind of an Ethernet cable. You could, Hey guys, that was pretty weird.
People often claim that activity can begin subtly, small disturbances, objects shifting, electronics malfunctioning, before escalating into something more noticeable. There's also the psychological layer. He mentions stress about work, finances, and change. And in certain beliefs, heightened emotional states are said to amplify unexplained phenomena, as if strong energy draws attention from something unseen. We can only hope this was a one-off situation, and not the beginning of something deciding to make itself known. In the following clip, a group of paranormal investigators acquire 2 dolls from separate owners who both claimed the objects were responsible for disturbing activity inside their homes. According to the previous owners, one of the dolls had been linked to persistent knocking sounds that seemed to follow it from room to room. Lights would flicker whenever it was moved, and one family claimed they repeatedly found it repositioned in places they were certain they hadn't left it. The second doll, the one dressed in a red cloth, was reportedly associated with whispering sounds at night and sudden cold spots that formed specifically around the shelf where it sat. One owner even said her child refused to sleep in the same room with it after insisting the doll blinked. Rather than destroy them, the investigators decided to document everything carefully. They placed both dolls on a table in a controlled setting and began a spirit box session, asking direct questions to see if any responses would come through. That's when something happened. Watch.
Light it back up to red. Look. Look. No! Bring that camera over here!
Oh god, he moved!
Still moving. Did you catch it moving?
I think I did, I don't know, I tried to run.
Again. Look, you see it move? I caught it moving. Yeah.
If you look closely at the doll with the red cloth, its head appears to shift slightly to the side. It is believed that objects that have been repeatedly associated with fear, attention, and belief can sometimes become what investigators call trigger objects, meaning they act as focal points for activity because of the emotional energy surrounding them. The red cloth itself also caught viewers' attention. In certain folklore traditions, red fabric is believed to either attract or contain spiritual energy, depending on how it's used. If the doll did move on its own, then the implication is clear. Whatever the previous owners were experiencing may not have been imagination. So if something truly is attached to it, then is bringing it into a new environment going to quiet it, or will it simply give it a new audience? Now in this next video, a man named Chris and his wife decided to install security cameras throughout their home after weeks of increasingly strange activity that neither of them could logically explain. It started subtly, small things out of place, the dog staring into corners of the room and growling at nothing visible, footsteps echoing faintly down the hallway after midnight. A few times, they heard what sounded like someone shifting their weight in the living room while they were upstairs. Once, Chris swears he heard a sigh directly behind him when no one was there. Eventually, they stopped brushing it off and installed cameras to see whether the disturbances had a visible source. One night, Chris was sitting in the living room with the dogs resting nearby when something happened that changed how he viewed the house entirely. Watch.
Okay. Okay.
In the footage, a chair begins to tilt backward as if someone were physically leaning into it, applying steady pressure with their weight. What makes it more unsettling is the dog's reaction and how they immediately become alert. And then there's the earlier activity, the footsteps, the sigh, the dogs reacting to empty space. When you layer those experiences together, the chair becomes harder to dismiss as coincidence. If someone unseen truly leaned back into that chair, then the implication is chilling. Chris may not have been alone in that living room, but until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. The following clips were recorded by a worker doing his rounds inside what appears to be a large commercial supermarket, checking expiration dates in the deli and dairy section late at night, alone, under the hum of fluorescent lights. He'd been hearing strange noises for a while before he started filming, and he mentions it almost casually at first, like he's trying to convince himself there's a simple explanation. He walks the main aisle slowly, narrating his confusion, until he turns down a narrower aisle and finds a broken package lying on the floor in the middle of it, as if it had already fallen before he arrived. He's mid-sentence trying to figure out what happened when this happens. Watch.
Es bien raro porque estoy checando mis caducidades que me tocó aquí en Salchonería y Lácteos, y curiosamente escuché que algo se cayó. Realmente no alcancé a ver qué fue lo que se cayó, pero sí escuché que se cayó algo. Ya desde hace rato se andan escuchando ruidos pues extraños, y realmente se cayeron unas galletas, creo. No sé, es muy extraño todo esto. Se cayeron unas galletas. ¡Oh, la madre!
A second box shoots out from the shelf entirely on its own, horizontal, forceful, not a slow slide, and the man barely finishes his thought before the shock hits him. What makes the reaction so hard to dismiss is how unscripted it feels. The camera jerks violently. The Spanish expletive that follows isn't practiced, it's instinctive. Skeptics will argue retail shelves can be unstable and product shifts happen, but the movement here reads more like a throw than a topple, and there was already one fallen item on the floor before this one came off. That's two incidents in the same aisle with no one else visible. The activity doesn't stay in one spot though. Later in the same night, in the same building, he pushes through a plastic curtain into the commercial kitchen, heavy breathing audible, camera still shaking, because he's heard another noise from inside. Watch.
Otra vez están escuchando ruidos. Estaba aquí haciendo el recorrido, pero escuché un ruido aquí adentro. No sé si si estaba crujiendo algo o no sé si... No sé. Qué raro. Ya no sé realmente qué hacer. Todo me extraña de este lado. Ya no sé qué hacer. Ya realmente no sé qué es lo que voy a hacer. Ya no entiendo ni qué es lo que está... ¿Qué cojones? No mames. Sácate a la verga, al chile, pinche mamada. Su puta madre. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Hay alguien ahí? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué se ve ahí al fondo? Oh, no mames.
A loud metallic bang erupts with no visible source. Then the industrial oven's control panel, previously dark, activates suddenly with all its lights flashing red. He swears, he backs away, and then he notices something at the far end of a narrow dark gap behind the storage shelves. Before he can make sense of what he's looking at, a large cardboard box is shoved off the shelf directly toward him, and the camera cuts to black on his terrified yelp. Some people who've watched this think whatever is present in that building is becoming progressively more aggressive, escalating from something passive, objects already on the floor, to something actively directed at him. Others believe locations like this, with repetitive overnight labor and the kind of energy built up in industrial spaces over years, can attract or generate activity that responds to being witnessed. What's clear is that by the end of that second clip, he's no longer investigating the noises, he's running from them. The following clips were recorded by a woman and her young daughter, Sarah, inside their home late at night. And what makes this case particularly unsettling is that the activity didn't happen once and stop. It kept building. In the first clip, the woman is filming herself in the kitchen, visibly shaken, while Sarah sits on the counter behind her. She explains that just moments earlier, she heard knocking traveling down the hallway, followed by what sounded like quick footsteps, and Sarah heard them too, independently, without prompting. The woman points her phone toward a dark hallway near the staircase, speaking in a hushed voice about shadows she's seen there before, figures that seem to peek over the banister and disappear. You can feel the tension in the way she holds the camera, steady but uncertain. Then, just as they're trying to calm down, Sarah suddenly reacts to a new sound. Listen closely.
It's just really weird. We just heard. What did you hear? Oh, you heard. I just heard knocking coming all the way down the hallway. And she's like, "Is that Daddy?" I said, "No." I said, "Daddy's taking his shower right now."
But I heard footsteps too.
You heard footsteps? Is that what it was? I heard that too. And our dog is right here. The cat is way back in the bedroom. But we just heard... Hold up. I just heard footsteps way down there. Like, sometimes I'll see shadows over there at that staircase. Like going up. Or like peeking over the banister. I don't know. That was like really weird. So...
Go make our snack, but if you see anything, that's super weird, like if you see like a shadow or like somebody.
Oh, we hope we don't see somebody.
Yeah.
That won't be good. Yeah. But no, we just heard, it sounded like quick walking. It was like really quick and it sounded like it came, I can't tell if that came from like upstairs where we've been hearing things or
downstairs.
Or like Like down at the
hallway.
entry.
Yeah.
We keep.
I just heard something.
You heard something yet?
Yeah, it was said like something 2 times.
Okay, what did it sound like?
It sounded like 2 times. Like
That's really weird.
it was like a zip, but it wasn't a zip. Like it wasn't like.
Did it sound like more like a whisper?
It whispered, and it just said like
Okay, let's make our snack and go to bed, okay?
Okay.
Alright.
I'm pretty scared.
The child describes hearing a whisper, a sound, twice, and the woman, clearly disturbed, confirms it sounded like a whisper, not a mechanical noise. What makes this hard to dismiss is that the two of them weren't feeding off each other's panic. Sarah heard something the woman didn't, described it independently, and her description held up under questioning. By the end, both of them admitted they were scared, and they decided to just make a snack and go to bed. That decision became its own kind of horror. In the second clip, the phone is set down on the counter, and the camera is static as they move through the kitchen together. Watch.
Sarah, did you say you wanted a snack? You said you wanted a snack? Okay.
Can I help you do your biddings?
You heard that?
Meow?
No, it sounded like that noise you heard earlier.
Maybe it's just like a rat.
We don't have that, Sarah. Let's go grab some other stuff. What else do you want?
I'll take strawberries with milk. I want milk because milk will help me. I heard it.
We'll do a healthy snack together. Does that sound good?
Okay, I'm gonna get on the table because I'm pretty scared because if you heard that noise, you heard it because I heard that like earlier. I heard it earlier, so while I was sitting there, I heard it.
Yeah, you heard you said it sounded like a snake sound, but it sounded like somebody talking at the same time.
I don't know. It was a snake or a what?
But if you were talking, you don't know what.
So I don't know. It's a snake or a person talking or a rat. I don't.
Okay, that was really weird. My phone just completely glitched.
Yeah.
It froze.
Yeah. And
into one spot, and I was like, oh, I got a weird. You got a shiver feeling? You got like a weird shiver vibe feeling that just like it feels. It's got like really cold in here.
Oh yeah.
That was really weird.
Yeah, like I don't know, was that like a snake, a person?
I don't know, but I mean, like that was like the phone glitched.
Yeah.
She's telling her story, and it was just.
Yeah, I'm telling my story.
Did I just see a flash? I don't know, it was really weird.
A loud, layered noise erupts from the direction of that dark hallway. Something that sounds like a deep growl, tangled with a metallic screech, aggressive enough to make the dog look up too. Then, almost immediately after Sarah tries to describe it, the phone violently glitches. The video freezes. The audio drops out completely, and when it recovers, the woman is standing there shaking, saying the room has suddenly gone ice cold. In paranormal research, a sudden temperature drop combined with electronic interference is one of the more frequently reported combinations, often associated with what investigators call an active presence drawing energy from its environment. Skeptics will point to a drafty house and a phone overheating, but the timing, the glitch happening in the exact moment the child is describing the sound, is the part that's genuinely difficult to explain away. So what exactly is in that hallway? Now in this next video, a man is alone at night inside what looks like an office break room or storage area, filming in complete darkness, and he's already terrified before anything even happens. He'd apparently been telling people something strange was going on in this room, and nobody believed him. So he went back in with his phone as his only light source, breathing heavy, scanning the space. Then the sound started. Watch.
Bạn hỏi mọi người không tin. Tụi gì luôn. Đứng đỏ. Phải đúng. I know.
First, there's a rustling in the dark, then a loud bang that sends him scrambling for the light switch. Once the room's lit up, he pans around and the camera settles on something sitting on top of the metal lockers, a large red bag of snacks. That's when it moves. No one near it, no vibration you can point to, no draft. It just scrapes forward several inches on its own, with an audible sound that makes him recoil immediately. He reaches out to touch it, almost like he needs to confirm it's real. Some viewers think an animal could explain the sounds in the dark, but that bag moving in a fully lit, clearly visible room is a lot harder to explain away. What do you think was in that room with him? In this next clip, an overnight caregiver had been noticing strange activity at the same time every night, consistent enough that they decided to act like they were asleep and secretly hide a phone to record what was happening. The caregiver works with a female patient who, according to their account, is completely unable to walk. That's the detail you need to hold on to before watching this. Listen closely. A woman steps partially into the doorway from the adjacent room, hunched forward at the waist, hands resting on her thighs, staring directly toward where the caregiver is lying. She doesn't move, not a flinch, not a shift in weight. According to the text, she stood in that exact position for over an hour. Many believe this could be a case of something else entirely occupying the patient's body. Others think it's sleepwalking, though that explanation does little to account for the posture. What would you do if you looked up and saw that? This next video was shared by a lady whose brother had just moved into a new place in Texas, and within what appears to be the first day or two of settling in, before the furniture was even properly arranged, things began moving on their own. The mattress was still wrapped in plastic, the dresser hadn't been placed yet, and according to the person filming, something was already making itself known inside that apartment. Watch.
This is fucking crazy.
The dresser slides across the laminate floor, slowly at first, a deliberate scraping drag that fills the room, then lurches forward a second time before the camera swings down to the mattress, where indentations press into the plastic wrap as the entire thing is pulled across the floor toward the brother sitting nearby. What makes this harder to dismiss is the texture of those indentations. Not a single pull, but the kind of uneven pressure you'd expect from something stepping and dragging at the same time. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, and that term carries real weight here. The word itself comes from the German poltern, meaning to rattle or make noise, and Geist, meaning spirit, a noisy ghost, historically associated with physical disturbance rather than visual apparition. What separates a poltergeist from other hauntings, according to many who study these cases, is the sense of intention behind the movement. Objects don't just fall, they're directed. Skeptics argue fishing line and an off-camera accomplice could explain both pieces of furniture, but the synchronized scraping audio and the progressive movement of the mattress give a lot of viewers pause. That same apartment appears to be the setting for the next clip, this time captured by a static security camera at around 9 a.m. on the 25th of March, 2026, as the man moves through the hallway, cleaning and organizing the space. The room is dim, the mattress still wrapped in plastic and propped against the wall, and something is already audible before anything visible happens. Listen closely. Beneath the ambient room tone, a constant layered stream of distorted whispers runs through nearly the entire clip. Some viewers claim to make out phrases, with one voice appearing to say, "Let us be free," before a loud bang slams from somewhere off camera, twice, and in the background doorway, a dark silhouette appears for just a moment, then disappears, followed seconds later by a faint, wispy shape drifting through the opposite entryway. The man doesn't seem to react. Either he didn't notice, or he's gotten used to it. The whispers themselves are strange because they don't behave like environmental audio. They layer and overlap in a way that some describe as electronic, almost processed, which has split viewers. Some believe the apartment is genuinely saturated with something, while others think the audio was added in post. But then there are those bangs, and that silhouette, and the fact that both clips exist from the same location. Whatever moved that furniture on the first day might not have stopped. The question is whether that presence is content to stay in the background, or whether those whispers were a warning of something still building. You tell me.